Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the knockout stage where the Fnatic faithful may have feared being favorites because every favorite has faltered, but Fnatic are one win away from eliminating EDG, are one win away from an NA versus EU semi-final in the 2018 World Championship. I cannot believe that those words are true, but it requires one more win. Gentlemen, EDG have side selection. EDG have picked blue side and made no substitutions.
Yes, I guess after last game when they, in the end, lost, despite some very, very, very close team fights, they're going to try and change it up here for the last game, but I'm actually glad that Haro stays in. I think they need him for the early game.
Yeah, completely agree with you. Haro right now has deserved his starting spot, has utilized it well all year, is one of the reasons that EDG made Worlds. And I have to think that this side selection is to try and free up either one of the top lane picks, like an Urgot, or to get rid of that cheeky Rakan ban to reopen the Xayah Rakan lane, because right now, both of the sides of the map really not looking all that strong.
Yeah, we could definitely see Fnatic just ban the Rakan again.
Sure.
It's so different for EDG when they play without it. Like Tahm Kench in a late game team fight is all about kiting back and being defensive. Rakan for Meiko's way can make plays, and they need him. Because we saw in those last team fights in the last game how they struggled to get on to Rekkles on the Xayah here.
And so many times, late game team fights just come down to who has the patience, who can take that initial play and then look for something in response. And a couple of times EDG got it right. They were able to win the team fight. Sometimes, you know, Bwipo's ultimates were far from desirable, but Fnatic, more times than not, were able to stick to that game plan and continue to push forward.
I want to see also with Syndra. He was first picked by Fnatic in the last game. While they didn't have a lot of early game impact, it's still one of the picks you always have to respect in these drafts, and Fnatic actually banned it away. They don't want to risk EDG taking it.
So what impact does this have looking forward? Akali is still up. No, the Rakan, we've touched on that a lot. What option does EDG decide to go?
Ooh, the Braum ban. Hylissang has played it a lot and played some good games on the Braum as well, and Akali gets banned now, so Rakan is left open for EDG, but remember, Fnatic can also play Xayah Rakan. They probably have to take it first, otherwise Fnatic will grab it. Of course, the Nami first pick. Classic.
Well, what would you expect to see? Obviously, this is a hobble for now, so let's wait to see what does decide to get locked in. Rakan obviously being the contested pick, the one that is shown through previous games, makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it certainly does, because things like Sivir still exist, and they assist with the engage as well. So I wanted both of them in there. I also think that EDG won't pick Xayah. iBoy is getting a couple of rushes of blood. Maybe he's feeling it a little bit too much at the moment and has kind of given away some of the leads.
Now, what support do we get? Alistar left open, good pick for Fnatic. Leona, normal pick against Rakan. Also here, Hylissang can play it. Fnatic needs to decide what to do against this Rakan pick, and Xayah is another AD carry to look at. Will Rekkles take it for himself? He's actually not put very high priority on it in the last couple of games. If he doesn't pick it, he should get it.
But the reason it is so potent is because it also gives you turret access, gives you chip damage. They're so good at going forward and backwards. So I think that Fnatic had to do this. They had to respect the threat that the bottom lane turret would have come under.
I also think it's because they took LeBlanc early. In the late game, Xayah is one of the AD carries who can avoid getting assassinated by LeBlanc in the back line because of her ulti. Take that away. Not only do you break up Rakan and Xayah, you get your Xayah. I can hear that's a happy from you right there. No, it's not a happy one.
Tell me a little bit more about your facepalm, Spawn. Why do you not like iBoy's Xayah?
I just think that when they have been successful in the early game, it's been through dominating the bottom lane. If you grab something that has the push, something that has access to that turret, if you're able to open up the map and generate a gold lead, you're in a good situation. If you're relying on late game team fights, I do not think that you right now have the coordination it needs.
Well, EDG, for now, seem to disagree and will actually pick some late game scaling with both Xayah and Rakan. Lee Sin comes in, takes that away from Broxah. Nocturne over, a pick that a lot of teams have valued very highly, and Fnatic normally banned in the second phase, just got locked in.
And now do EDG have to ban the Tahm Kench? Something down there in the bottom lane that can help Nocturne out. We already mentioned it, with the darkness, being able to go to the lane and not really have much of an idea of what's going on can be potent.
I mean, if it is Tahm Kench, sure, it is setting up the great 1-3-1 combo we get from G2 a lot. Otherwise, Alistar, Leona, these kind of picks for Hylissang will be great, especially Alistar would be fantastic here, because Alistar, LeBlanc, and Nocturne means that the enemy AD carry dies every fight.
Yeah, and I think that Bwipo has shown that he has a big champion pool. Maybe it's something like a Swain as well that you take away that only really he is prioritizing right now.
Well, we'll find out what champions will be banned away by EDG as Lissandra and Galio mid lane picks removed. I actually quite like Nocturne into Galio, and Scout didn't have the most impactful Galio earlier this series. Regardless of that fact, it is denied, and the last Phase 2 ban will be locked in shortly. So for Fnatic, they either go their support now or their jungle, and then we decide what they'll be locking in. Correction, support or top?
Yeah, and I think that it's going to actually... Oh, it's not. I was going to say, I would like to see a Victor ban here because they do have last pick potential. I think that Ray probably needs to be on a tank, and that Victor was very disruptive.
I want to see if Fnatic just takes the Alistar. I think most teams in the world will just grab it very, very quickly here. Works really well with Xayah. Already you can combo, get the feathers down, pull back, but no, they want to play for laning phase here a lot more with the Thresh pick coming in. Nocturne, level 6, can go down to that bot lane very easily and set up kills against this Xayah.
Defisho, immediate reaction when you see Hylissang Thresh.
Safe choice, Alistar, but Hylissang loves to be a playmaker, loves to try and show what he can do mechanically. I'm still a little bit surprised.
I, for one, rejoice at the Thresh pick because it is one of those picks that if you play it to the highest level can be dominant in the laning phase. Otherwise, it can look a little bit rough. I also think that finally we will see the skill matchup. Even terms, mages, assassins, Syndra versus LeBlanc. That is hype.
And the question is, who will come out on top? Now that's a few seconds left before EDG lock that one in. Scout, during the laning phase, has looked fairly good against Caps. He has had support from the rest of the team, of course, cannot discount that fact. But now EDG have got no more room for error. Lose this and you are done at the World Championship.
Very true, and one of the biggest problems in the Syndra versus LeBlanc is not the 1v1 specifically. It's what happens when the junglers join. And in Nocturne level 6 against the Syndra, it's very easy for Fnatic to shut her down. Will be a bit harder for Haro here on the Lee Sin, but he can do it if he's focusing around the mid lane early to try and shut down Caps.
And all of a sudden, Scout has gone from a lineup where he really couldn't hold anyone because of double walls to now he just has really good options to
hold everyone.
Just ult whoever you want. As soon as the spell shield is out, use it on Broxah, use it on Caps. Bwipo's not going to want to use a stopwatch at the start of the fight. He wants to be mobile and able to access the back line. Scout can have a game here.
And I think support-wise, EDG are winning out here with the Rakan. They take it early. Hylissang does not grab an Alistar on his side. He wants something that's stronger early, has a bit more pick potential, but still, it means for late game teamfights, if we get there, the Rakan pick is so huge when it comes to forcing these engagers onto Fnatic.
And we saw how the late game team fights played out in the previous game. Every single moment was balancing on individual decision making, individual abilities, and it was Fnatic that were able to make the play around Baron when the team fight and close the game despite being behind in gold. Fnatic are 2-1 up. They have a little bit of wiggle room. If they lose this game, we play Silver Scrapes, we go to game 5. But if not, they will be the first team to be favored to be a #1 seed advancing to the semifinals.
And that would be massive for the Fnatic lineup. Not only would they be the second EULCS organization in the year that was supposed to be the LPL, they would also be able to cement themselves as potential favorites for Worlds going into semifinal.
Well, being favorites has not helped everybody else in the bracket stage of the 2018 World Championship. Will Fnatic buck the trend? Our eyes in this early game will absolutely be on Hylissang's Thresh and what level of impact he can bring to the game, but also on what Fnatic decides to do at this level 1. We've seen a couple of influential level 1 players over the weekend, and there are some tools for Fnatic to work with.
Well, for now, Broxah is scouting and trying to be a little bit of a bait if someone does walk in from EDG. He did spot the Lee Sin in here.
That's really smart from Haro because he knows that there's a Thresh could be potentially over the wall. The rip back from Swain is actually pretty underrated in terms of CC at an early level. So just being able to back out of that brush. In saying that, they now don't have complete vision of the river from Ghost Poro. So this also means that Broxah can potentially get up behind Ray and try and have some influence on the top side of the map.
Well, they get the ward down now. That will spot if Broxah is walking down the ramp on his side, so nothing ends up happening in terms of fights. Ooh, let's see what EDG is doing. Nope, that was just 4 members warding together.
And they have a sweeper on the side of EDG again, which gave me some thought that maybe they would walk in, try and sweep out this ward that could potentially be placed by Caps. They will know exactly where it is. So it's a Ghost Portal again.
Good old Ghost Porous. After the buff to it, everyone suddenly loves to pick it, and there's actually one of the smart ones to get off.
Meiko and iBoy, they're going to start the fight here. They get the knock up onto Hylissang. He's already used the Ignite. That's a defensive flash already. Rekkles has got good damage onto Meiko. Both supports very, very low. Summoner spell advantage to EDG.
Yeah, 3 summoners used by Fnatic here. Double flash still on the side of EDG. Look for level 2 gank in the bottom lane.
That's what I was going to say. More importantly, they deny the ward going out, and maybe he face checks it now.
Here comes Haro. Sonic Wave needs to find a target. The knock-up catches onto Hilly. Resonating strike. First blood, EDG.
And EDG strike first. You could see that early aggression. This is what KT did against EDG to be able to pick up those early kills, and now Haro could be unlocked on the map.
Man, they just walked straight down the river. They forced a flash from Hylissang. Rekkles also ended up flashing here during the gank. Huge play in the bottom lane, and fantastic start for EDG's bot lane.
Especially in a lane where Hylissang's Thresh is one of the champions we talked about. We wanted to see him get ahead. Now on the flip side, Ray's special augment Sion is being bullied a little by Bwipo, Swain, as is somewhat to be expected. And the wave is pushing towards Ray.
So let's get the play in the bottom lane again. EDG in the brush. Hylissang is the one face taking. They knock him up as well. So now he's so low that he has to try and flash away. And that suddenly means that Haro can just do his red buff and go straight bot.
And then the fact that Hylissang can't walk back into that river means that they can't get the ward down. That sets up the gank coming in. Haro gets the Q this time off the CC and able to pick up first blood.
And Hylissang not able to stop Meiko here from getting onto him. He dies now. Perfect start again for EDG in the early game. And you need this when you're down 2-1 in a series. You just lost a game where you were up in gold almost all game long. But you lost due to some big late game team fights. Now you need a good start to instantly bounce back.
Ooh, good stun onto Caps. Whoa, Dogsphere comes out. That's a flash for Ignite in the skill matchup. 1v1 goes to Scout.
Scout solo kills Caps again.
That was the perfect stun. He sees the dash forward. He lands the stun. Full combo comes in. Ignites some auto attacks. And that's all you need to kill LeBlanc.
And all worlds long, we've seen this matchup go in the reverse. But the mid laner from EDG, when they need him the most, stands tall.
All right, Bwipo's going to be picking a fight here in the minion wave. Haro is here to support. One more auto is needed. Bwipo doesn't flash for it just yet. Instead, will be content with denying some CS and experience.
Ray wanted to bait this one. Oh, no.
Oh.
He wanted to bait it because the Lee Sin was there, but Bwipo had the minion wave bot lane.
All right, knock up onto Hylissang once again. iBoy is very, very low, though, and now Meiko is trying to escape. Rekkles keeps chucking out those feathers. The engage turns worse for EDG.
And Deficio, when you have that many creeps, give me that over a level 3 jungler. Hooked on.
Oh, death sentence into the feather. It's not going to be just yet. Rekkles wasn't able to do it.
No ignite here from Hylissang, still on cooldown after that level 1 fight. Meiko will have to recall somewhere else. Let's see the mid lane. He knows the dash is coming and he gets the perfect stun onto Caps right there. I believe the ball he put down just behind him was the one that ended up hitting him. And then you can just get the ignite in auto.
I love it. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Scout just turns around and lets Ignite do the final tick.
And it's so important because, as we said in Champs, like once Nocturne hits level 6, it's no longer a 1v1 mid lane. He can join, and you can easily set up ganks with LeBlanc. But before that, Scout does have chances here to actually outplay Caps, and he did.
And the individual player tendencies, I just love to look towards. We've seen all day long Corrupting Potion versus Doran's Ring because Scout holds such high priority on the early power, extra HP, extra ability power, just enough to be able to snag that first kill.
It works out in favor of EDG. They got a 500 gold lead. Meiko's already recalled, picked up a control ward, and Haro is going to be sniffing around in this bottom lane for another opportunity. Hylissang, no flash available, nor is Rekkles, so this could go badly if some of the CC can connect.
And you can see they want to bait it. They were hitting the ward in very clear hook range. This is one of those opportunities where Hylissang can set up the play. Now they force him to the other side of the lane. Not going to look for it.
The tension is just building as EDG have got an early advantage.
Yeah, and I just want more fights in the mid lane. Like, again, as we said in the replay, Scout puts down the ball behind Caps where he's jumping towards him, and then just when the ball spawns, that's when he hits the knockback and actually stuns Caps with it. Such a cool setup from him. He's level 6 now, so he can try and do the same thing again. But Caps can just wait for Broxah to hit 6 on his side.
And that is twice Haro has walked past that.
Here we go, can land stun.
All right, stun gonna get dodged away from by the distortion. 44 CS to 48, at least Caps is remaining relevant. While that is going on, Bwipo is still having a pretty good time in the top lane. I just saw Ray recalling, and he's already positioning towards the bottom half of the lane, in fact. He's got Unstoppable Onslaught. Bwipo's got an 11 CS lead already.
See here, remember Hylissang with Flay can stop some of these dashes. Haro as well, if he actually tries to jump in, but Hylissang is playing it safe, staying back, knowing that he can always lantern Rekkles out, unless there is a ward being placed, as Uzi learned yesterday.
And you can see double control wards in the river. This is where EDG want to be able to play towards. However, the fact that they did not sweep the back of the red buff and Haro walked past that ward twice has been crucial in the information that Fnatic have been able to secure and kind of negate that bottom lane.
Well, Haro's going to clear out that ward right now. And just looking at Ray, again, the positioning, the decision-making, recall, looking towards bottom lane, the wave was pushing away. It was the right decision, and also just showing the priority of where EDG want to go. Scout has left the mid lane, he's coming to help out top. There's a flash available to Bwipo, and he's got Demonic Ascension ticking. Now Ray, when he gets popped into zombie mode, if at all, will put a lot of damage down, and that was just really well played by EDG.
Yeah, starts as a 1v1, Scout walks in behind, and what he does here, he ultis first to guarantee that he will hit the stun when he fires the knockback with so many balls on the ground. Bwipo not able to flash away. And right now, the mid lane matchup is where EDG is getting the big advantage.
And the reason that looks so easy, because it's against the tone of play. We already mentioned it. Double control wards, bottom side river. Clear out your own control wards. Make sure that you have access to the bottom lane. Meiko flashback available. All Fnatic are thinking about is how do we survive the bottom lane gank that is coming. All of a sudden, Scout goes topside, looks to pick up some fruit, grabs himself a kill.
Well, Fnatic are able to pick up a dragon at least. It is a Cloud Drake at 8.5 minutes. It is a 600 gold deficit that they need to claw back, and for the time being, EDG starting off beautifully.
Yeah, but now we have to see what Broxah decides to do with the first ulti. Will he use it mid if Scout is pushing forward? Combination with the LeBlanc, they can secure a kill. Or will he go bot lane instead where they have the Thresh to set it up as well with the Nocturne? The first ulti is always so important as a jungler.
And everybody on the side of EDG has their flashes available. So we'll keep our eyes on where Broxah decides to go. He's even on CS with Haro. He's got himself that Chilling Smite as well. So the tools are there. It just depends on which lane he decides to focus on.
And now, much like when you play against Neverland, it's more important to have a ward near Grom, a ward near the Raptor camp. Try and spot where the Nocturne is trying to access the river from, or what position from behind turrets he's looking to attack. You would have to think that they could pull up Ray at this stage of the game. He's not all that tanky. Mixed damage is great against tanks at this stage, so still have options everywhere.
You know, I want to just praise the fact that Bwipo and Rekkles are out CSing their respective opponents, and Caps, despite giving up first blood, is also even on CS. So Fnatic are actually ahead of gold, despite being down 3 kills. There's a very good sign for Fnatic to understand their power levels as we get closer to these skirmishes. Now, Brox is nowhere near mid. Haro is, but he's spotted by the ward, so good information by Fnatic.
Let's see if we can actually find him. It is pretty hard as a Lee Sin to gank a LeBlanc, just due to her dashes, but if you can land a stun first, they can set it up. Nothing ends up happening here. No camps for Broxah. This is gank time. He's around mid for now.
All right, Scan of the Week was just used a few moments ago. That's a good distortion into the ethereal chain. So Scout loses 30% of his HP, and Broxah's waiting in the wing. So Paranoia could be used, especially if Hylissang can help find some CC, but the opportunity didn't present itself.
But you can see EDG are reading the situation. That's why they keep Haro in the mid lane, just to protect Scout. Broxah did not use the ulti, now to get him!
All right, that's already a lot of trouble. Broxah's gonna get taken out. Unleash power after the spell shield had been used. Instant engage from EDG.
And let me tell you, Haro really wanted to kill Broxah there because he hit every button on his keyboard simultaneously to try and take him down. Flash burnt as well as the ultimate, but he gets his man.
And that's just great jungling right here. Knowing that mid lane is gonna be the target, stay around to protect Scout, and then when Broxah ends up actually moving into the river, you just jump him instantly.
Bwipo?
Oh, Bwipo's doing so well in this lane. He's plus 20 CS. He's pushing Ray back again and again and again.
And this is very expected in the matchup. Fnatic knows if they just leave the 1v1 top, Bwipo will keep just getting ahead. He has the Klepto as well on his side for even more gold. But look at the player. This is after protecting mid. Broxah, because he has the Lantern, thinks that he can walk into the jungle. But as we've seen so many times, the Lantern will not always save you. They're standing on it. They're trying to keep him CC'd, so he can't actually click it.
And he commits his flash after the fact as well. Just before we enter that replay, Caps was stunned up by Scout of the Week from Scout, but he doesn't have access to Unleash Power, so there's no kill threat. 2-0-1. Scout, Syndra. 0-1-0. Caps, LeBlanc.
And I think so much of what Fnatic has shown today is going to give fans a mixture of relief and hope, because it has been at times, you know, Caps falling behind in the mid lane, but then Rekkles is showing that he still has carry potential. I think that this is now a team that can beat you in multiple areas. However, the problem looks like right now is that jungle mid isn't able to get rolling against Scout and Haro.
And I think that's actually a lot of praise to EDG, specifically for how close the series is right now. A lot of people looked at Fnatic as heavy favorites going into it, but EDG's first game was fantastic with the early game draft they had. They've managed to do a lot with Scout, specifically against Cap. Scout has been the better mid laner today, and Haro is now here around the Rift Herald.
All right, Caps is coming in towards the Rift Herald. The engage is actually going to be onto Haro. Wow, he flew across the map with that blast cone. Now the Rift Herald is about to reset. Watch that patience meter. It's dropping targets, so the Decimating Smash comes down. Rift Herald will get secured, but the engage from Meiko gets the stun, gets the knockup, and it gets Meiko out. Now Broxah and Caps trying to turn this one back around. Ray is already getting the autos down. He's in trouble. Will get propped. Scout of the Week was massive. iBoy comes in. He takes down Cap. Bwipo will at least get one back onto Meiko. Now he flashes over the wall. Broxah is looking for Scout, but he can't chase into 3. This is the first 2 kills for Fnatic.
And it looked great for Fnatic as they had their support first to the play still going.
All right, Demonic Ascension was used. The passive on Swain will force a flash out of Scout, and I think iBoy should be able to pick this one up. That Sith Lightning's not going to be enough to take down Ray, and it is just a matter of time. The passive from Swain will buy
have to take this
a few extra seconds. It's actually Scout that cleans it up.
Yeah, and that's really nice from Haro. The patience to give it over to his mid laner. Didn't want to take another kill on Lee Sin, but that looked great. Fnatic rotated Hylissang to the play first. They got an ultimate out of Ray. They picked off Haro. However, they didn't commit and try and look to get out. That meant that iBoy actually, with a good read on the map, rotated to the play first.
Want to see the replay again here when the fight breaks out. They use the Nocturne ulti to kill Haro here, get rid of the jungler in the early game. He can't see anything, he doesn't know where he's going, so he's just going to go down very quickly. But Ray on the Sion, despite losing lane, he knows that will happen. He knows also now that he can just be a frontliner. He's buying time for iBoy, who's running from base. Get a quick kill here onto Hylissang, and now just kite back, wait for iBoy to shot, because Rekkles was still in the bottom lane.
And it looks like Bwipo thought the ultimate was going to come out of Scout because he used the Zhonya's so early. That meant that when it came out onto Caps, maybe didn't think it was available. iBoy flies in like Superman to save the day. And the coordination from EDG this time, much better at jockeying around the fight.
And very fun to see. EDG calling, our AD carry is coming. Keep fighting. And Fnatic are not calling. Hey, wait a minute, our AD carry is not coming. Back away. They were like, no, we can still go and try and get a kill with the Swain here. Ends up hurting Fnatic a lot. EDG won another fight here, and Scout 3-0-3. Loot and Seiko completed. He just want to fight someone.
Well, it's so important to look at this next engage. Rekkles has already used the flash to escape. Hylissang goes down. He is just blown up by EDG, and the Rift Herald will not even get a charge onto the tower. I was going to touch on the fact that with a 6-kill advantage, it's only 400 gold in the lead because Bwipo and Rekkles are farming up a storm. The problem is they're getting outplayed in these skirmishes.
Yes, and the first pick, Rakan, has so much value for EDG, and the Hylissang Thresh response was about winning the early laning phase, create picks, but the level 1 did not go in his favor, and ever since, he's just been taken down.
But they still have double dragon. They still, even though they're losing out on these small fights, are able to get advantages around the map. They are staying true to the game plan.
Spawn, EDG have rung up the DJ and said, bust out the Silver Scrapes record because we want to push this to Game 5. They don't care about some silly dragons. because they have found ways to kill Fnatic over and over and over.
I don't know what kind of clubs you go to, but I don't think you can just call the DJ and request the song.
Maybe I'm showing my age a little bit, Deficio. Fnatic right now will be trying to claw back some control because they are still even in terms of gold and power and items, and the paranoia alone will push EDG away from the tower. Fnatic are by no means out of this game, but it feels like EDG are in control.
Better wasted Nocturne ultimate just before level 11. Doesn't even have the shorter cooldown from this one. You can see right now that they have control over the map, but they're not able to search for plays. Now potentially going to look bottom lane, and EDG finally respecting, back away from turrets, looking to make plays elsewhere.
Yeah, we've seen EDG right now always kind of track Broxah where he would ulti and then stay near Scout whenever Broxah was in range. The ulti was popped before there, but then he realized, wait a minute, there's two players. We can't actually do this on the turret. So Scout continues to just push and be safe. Cap's in a brush, but he's all alone topside. Fnatic are pushing bot and mid.
And game one, the game that EDG were able to pick up the victory in, was on the back end of some amazing play from Scout on an assassin. This game set up in a very similar trajectory. Whilst they lose out on first turret, as well as a couple of dragons, their mid laner is 3-0-4 and a massive power.
And look at the power difference. Sorcerer's Shoes and Luden's Echo for Scout versus Merc Treads, a Lost Chapter, and now a Negatron. It has just been upgraded to Luden's a moment ago by Caps, but just showing how well the 304 Syndra has started and the support that he's got from the rest of EDG.
Yeah, now if you're a Scout, you can go top, push one wave, and then move to mid and join your team. You obviously want to continue to maximize your farm and experience gain, but the biggest value you're going to bring is when the four-man group is together and you can actually look for picks with long-range stunts from this Syndra here, and then, of course, engages from Meiko. If you land any of them, either Meiko's engaged, stun from it,
oh, goodbye, iBoy! Blink and you'll miss it!
That was nice. You'll take that one if you're a Fnatic fan.
I actually think we need that in slow-mo because I didn't even see Caps coming in from the side.
He did.
This game is so incredibly close. Fnatic now have a gold lead, they have a farm advantage, and they have the ability. Caps is going to distort over the wall. The Lantern was there. Actually, that was cheeky.
Was just setting up the beautiful EDG siege with, you know, stuns from Syndra into engage from Rakan, and you can just one-shot whatever carry sitting there on the side of Fnatic to try and defend, and then iBoy gets destroyed. So Cap sits here, iBoy walks in behind his support, has healed, but I don't think he even sees it. Q or W.
Bring back old LeBlanc, they said. It'll be good for the game, they said.
It makes it very entertaining, nevertheless.
That is gross.
Caps gets his first kill of the game, blows up iBoy within 40 seconds of completing his Luden's Echo. And again, I know I sound a little bit like a broken record, but they've got a gold lead because of the CS advantages. Hylissang throws out the death sentence after baiting onto iBoy. Meiko's easily able to sidestep it. And that Hilly needs to get his aim up if he's trying to set up kill.
Yeah, basically the gold lead right now is actually Bwipo being about 1,200 gold ahead of Ray. Klepto plus winning lane, obviously in favor of the Swain. A lot of the other carries, as you can see here, is actually Scout being ahead of Caps, and then Rekkles slightly ahead of iBoy.
And this time they don't skip steps. They clear out the side lane. They're looking to try and find where Caps is. Hook misses one more time. You can see the siege might finally be successful.
All right, Broxah, level 12, so he's got a tier 2 ultimate Paranoia. Bwipo's now making his way up from the river. And this will be a 5-on-5 brawl in the mid lane. Who pulls the trigger first?
There we go!
That's a cat! That's a dead Rekkles! iBoy's able to escape with his life. The Killer Instinct shield brings it back up. But Scout is blown up! It's Bwipo Swain on the front line! He goes golden thanks to the Hourglass is regenerating, thanks to Demonic Ascension, and they're bloop! Not enough to kill Meiko. Now a chain, that's gonna lock down Ray. There's a follow-up from the Sith Lighting. The box is finally used, but nobody's caught by a death sentence. So far to 1-for-1. It's an ADC for a mid. The visions of the Empire come down, and EDG are routed, running for their lives.
And you can just see how disruptive Bwipo is right now. The big gold lead able to push them back, and Fnatic continue to march forward.
Where is the engage? Where is the follow-up? Fnatic are fishing, looking for opportunities. Caps not going to be able to find it. They will get the tower. It's 2-1 in favor of Fnatic.
Fnatic gets the mid lane turret here. Bwipo looks to be walking away together with the rest of the team. What a close fight. And we're gonna get a lot of these in this game. EDG, they know, group together, fish for stuns with your fed Syndra, and then use Meiko to engage. That's exactly the combo we wanted to see, and then get it onto Rekkles.
Yeah, immediate stun into death. However, then Bwipo in the backline is such a nuisance. It looked great for EDG. 4-man decimating smash, but the fact that Scout fell down moments before, with Flash still available, was the thing that turned this fight.
And now you get EDG really wanted to re-engage, but they just couldn't get on to Fnatic. They lose that mid lane turret. Fnatic's goal lead still about 1,500.
But I think it's so important to look at what it means. Bwipo's got an hourglass and a fully stacked Rod of Ages at 21.5 minutes. And he's already halfway to his next tier item as well. This Swain will be the make or break champion for Fnatic in the coming minutes. They've got a 2,000 gold lead. And also, Broxah's just picked up that Dust Blade of Drakthar as the dragon is being soloed, it looks like. No contest yet from EDG. That's 3 Drakes to 0 in favor of Fnatic.
However, this is putting a clock on the game. All of a sudden, you get towards Elder Drake territory. If you haven't got more firm control, you have to at least go fight the objective, because 3 dragons is going to start becoming a nuisance. They're once again looking for Hylissang, but not able to find him.
Visions come out. Ooh, Scout's able to escape there. A lot of damage coming out. I don't know if Caps could have done it. That's decent. Bwipo jumps all the way in. Unable to find the kill, but the paranoia goes all the way forward. Broxah finds Scout. He uses the stopwatch to buy some time. Here comes Ray in the back end of the fight. He manages to take down Bwipo. So far, 1 for 1. The box comes down. This will force any follow-up. Ray is killed. It's Hylissang that gets the credit. 6 kills in favor of Fnatic now.
And you can see time and time again, Fnatic are just looking for their opportunities again. Caps goes over the wall.
Not going to find the kill this time round, but Fnatic have arrested control of the game. With the numbers advantage, they're peeling back towards the pit.
And because EDG is grouping so much, they're going one more.
Oh, the chain's just going wide. Caps needs to find the target. That's a flash from iBoy. It didn't work this time, but it might work next time.
Fnatic are using their mobility so well here to be really annoying against EDG. Caps constantly over the wall. Broxah with his ulti as well to find the kill in the end. And currently getting a lot of damage on the top lane turret as well.
They're just losing farm because they keep grouping so much. Top lane, big wave dies to the turret. Bottom wave, all those blue creeps are killing the red creeps right now. What we missed was the initial damage onto Scout, and then Bwipo looking for a kill.
Gets in with the early hourglass as well on his side, so he stays alive. Broxah secures the kill. And now because Caps can still get over the wall to try and help him, Broxah can flash out. Meanwhile, Ray gets basically the perfect ulti and secures a kill. But now, sadly for him, he is stuck in the front line alone.
Yeah, 90% slow of the box coming through there. As a Sion, you're not really going to be able to move through that one.
But if you are EDG, it's hard to not just group mid, because you're against LeBlanc Nocturne. If you send Scout to a side lane, he gets isolated and he just dies very quickly. So you have to try and group together. If they can land the stun and secure a pick, it's great. Down to him.
Oh, this is a lot of trouble as Caps is caught up. It is he caught out. Haro stays alive for now. Caps running for his life.
Oh!
Wave! Finds it. Haro gets the solo kill.
And finally some life out of the jungler of EDG. Looks for the solo kill. Has to burn the stopwatch. But he gets the mid laner. And EDG can now look to continue the siege mid.
This game is fantastic. It's 1,500 gold advantage to Fnatic. They are down in kills. But his individual ability that is determining who wins these skirmishes and fights.
Exactly, and that's why this meta at Worlds is so fun to watch, because there are so many champions in the current meta that can make plays like this. They can try and duel each other 1v1, 2v2 everywhere on the map. And we have so many great players just trying to show who's actually the best.
And finally, we have a composition with no tank, so iBoy actually might be able to buy himself a Banshees and a Zhonya's. He actually might be an AP Kai'Sa that when he flies into the back line, looks more like a genius than a little bit of a madman, because it would be very valuable right now versus Caps. He is on fire.
All right, take a look at the trade this time round. Ray has got 2 items completed, able to withstand some more damage from Bwipo. But Bwipo's got teleport, so if a fight breaks out, he can join.
Once again, same setup here. Actually, Bwipo getting jumped in the bottom lane.
All right, Demonic Ascension is used. Hourglass is available. He's going to need to use it. Doesn't even get a chance. iBoy easily picks up his third kill of the game.
Yeah, this is something that the LCK and LPL teams love to do. Look for picks in the side lane with the mobility of Xayah. She then actually moves through jungle very quickly to be able to rotate back to the play. Just the ultimate's burnt there. It's only 25 minutes in. Baron's still a very tough objective without tanks.
I'm really struggling to understand who is in the lead and who has the advantage this game.
Who cares?
All of the regular rules don't seem to apply. EDG are ahead in kills, behind in gold, making more plays, behind in dragons. It's crazy to try and understand.
Well, they're not behind in the mid lane matchup. They're behind in the top lane matchup right now. AD carry-wise, it is almost dead even. So you can say when it's a 4v4, EDG are not behind. When it's a 1v1 bot lane, they are behind. And if Bwipo joins, suddenly the gold lead goes in favor of Fnatic. So it all depends on who's there when the fight starts.
And all that gold does is gives you a high % chance of winning the fight. You still have to be able to execute upon it. And right now, 2,000 gold is not the be-all or end-all. So it is just about finding your windows, picking your mark, and then being able to execute on it. Both teams doing it well at certain points in this game.
All right, let's see what Caps can do this time around. 1, 3, and 4. He's going fishing for Scout. Haro going to sit on the Sonic Wave. There is vision available, and he's already solo killed Caps once.
Yeah, Hourglass for Scout here, very important. Seeing as he's sitting in the side lane, he knows he needs backup. That's why Haro is around him. It's smart play from EDG against the LeBlanc Nocturne combo. It's not a Fnatic. Bot lane pushing.
Every time they do this, however, they leave Bwipo down in the bottom lane. He's continuing to amass, and he is going to be such an absorbed threat. He's just going to sit in the front line and be able to take so much damage.
And that's why I think the big opening for EDG is the flash engage from Meiko while Bwipo is bot lane, so he can't TP in time. Get the quick kill with your Rakan, your first pick in this game. And even if Bwipo then TPs in after, you have a 5 versus 4 situation because he's the fed member. He's the really strong member in terms of gold. I know the 2-4 record doesn't show it, but gold-wise, he's the one really far ahead. Which
probably means that it's Broxah or Caps you're looking for right now. No flash on Caps. Broxah,
yeah.
If he gets hit, will just die. You know, with GA now, potentially a window to come back, but not many other members apart from Hilly, who you don't really want to burn everything on.
It's wide open right now.
Nearly 30 minutes on the clock, and of course Baron is going to start becoming more and more of a focus. Caps is challenging for vision. He takes out that control ward, and will need to distort over before riding the Lantern to safety. It is still only 1 tower to 2. 3 towers killed by 30 minutes in game is mind-boggling.
Well, only Bwipo right now who's controlling the side lane. Everything else is getting evenly matched between the teams. 4 Drakes now, 3 Cloud Drakes for Fnatic.
Now, I would have preferred them to delay that just a little so that they could have got to an Elder Drake immediately after the 35-minute mark. Instead of that fact, it's going to be around a 34-minute Infernal and then around a 40-minute Elder. There's only one fewer tool. Regardless of that, Reyes decides to use the Unstoppable Onslaught already. Bwipo catches him with the passive. This will be a straight 4-on-5 because Rekkles is not there. Rekkles was not with the team, so EDG backed away.
And different ideas from EDG. It looked like Haro wanted to go back to Baron. Ray wanted to look for a fight. Instead, they kind of do both of them, which doesn't really do anything. And now without the key ultimate in Ray, they see pressure around the objective.
Yeah, and Fnatic know they can actually face check because Bwipo's here. He doesn't have to TP in from the bottom lane. So they have their strong Swain, level 16 in the game. Highest out of any player. But if he goes back to the bot lane, that's where EDG can try and pull the trigger at Baron and look for the quick engage. But as long as he's here, it's all about team fights.
However, it is so hard to generate a team fight when you can't start Baron, and Bwipo must be the person that is tanking it, so the turn becomes so important.
1 win away from semi-finals. iBoy is not with the team, and Fnatic, they've started off the Baron. It's already below half hit points. Blue Trinket is thrown inside the pit. Passive from Swain comes down. Paranoia's out, and it's secured. Fnatic get the buff. There goes the engage from Meiko. He's in, he's out, he's dashed, he's dived. Nobody's dead yet. Ray gets pulled backwards. He uses a stopwatch. Death sentence finds Haro, but now Bwipo, he jumps all the way forward. Demonic Ascension is still there. Fantastic stun coming out from Scout. This turns it back around. GA is available for Broxah, but the first kill is onto Haro. There's the passive and the death sentence and Ray's down as well. Cap is chasing forward. Rekkles lets the feathers fly, and the lovers duo will find a kill. Xayah takes out Rakan. Scout is the only man standing as Fnatic crush EDG.
Fnatic take it all. They rinse EDG at the Baron. They're pushing 2 lanes, and they burst this game open.
Oh, this is 30-second death time is how much can Fnatic take. They're pushing onto the inhibitor tower.
They're looking for 2 inhibs at least right here. First turret will drop. Another wave coming topside. Raze dead for 18 seconds.
Oh, you question if they had have grouped whether they would have been able to end. Still 18 seconds on the top laner, but instead they do the smart thing. They take their 10,000 gold lead and they back away.
And we kept saying, when Bwipo is there with Fnatic, they have the goal lead. They have the raid boss in the front who's soaking up so much damage. The rest of EDG now are trying to see if they can reach caps, but it just misses. He steps out of it, and at this point, iBoy has not dealt any damage yet. He gets to join the fight fairly late, and Bwipo is still in the front line soaking up damage. He gets a last hourglass in. EDG cannot kill him. They can't just walk through him. And it buys so much time for Fnatic. Haro tries to make the big play, but he ends up dying.
And so many times this game, EDG members have seen their play, have seen how they are going to win the game for their team. They have gone for it and it has not paid off. Think back to iBoy's ultimate in game number 3. Now look at Haro's pick this game. And it means they are now moments away from being eliminated from Worlds 2018.
Every single lane for Fnatic can carry, and look at the damage for Rekkles on that Xayah. Game changing as he was kept alive, and Fnatic have broken open 2 lanes. Caps is ushering in Baron empowered minions in the top lane, and Fnatic are so tantalizingly close to the semi-finals. Fnatic have not been in the semi-finals since 2015.
And it's just such a huge performance from them in this game here, especially Bwipo on the Swain. EDG knows they can't just kill the raid boss, they need the adds as well, otherwise they will just take them down.
While Raze already used the unstoppable onslaught, the Nexus is being focused down. Fnatic are 1 step closer to semi-finals, they're 1 step closer to a World Championship final. The Nexus is being focused down, and Fnatic, the last standing world favorite, will advance to face Cloud9 in the semi-finals at Worlds. This was a quarterfinals that felt like any team could advance. And Fnatic is the only favorite, the only first seed to stand strong and advance to the semifinals.
But it was supposed to be the year of the LPL. RNG on the golden road, IG looking in form. However, it is 2 European LCS teams with the favorites in Fnatic at the helm that will now push towards semi-finals. This is a team that potentially looks like the favorite.
I don't believe in favorites anymore. I don't think that is a World Championship tone that we can take anymore. Fnatic were on the cusp of losing games this series. EDG stepped up and EDG made this competitive.
Yes, this was a very, very good BO5. EDG showed, especially with Scout in the mid lane, that they could match whatever Fnatic threw at them in the early game. We had so many of these games being very, very back and forth. Game 3 decided in big late game teamfights by Rekkles. Game 4 decided by the Swain pick from Bwipo in these fights here. They could not kill him.
And it was a changing of guard year for EDG, you know. New top laner, Clearlove no longer playing on the main squad, Scout, Meiko, the carries that you're looking towards. But at the end of the day, you have to give credit to Fnatic because they came in and every single member showed up that they're a legitimate threat and pushed themselves through this best of 5.
It was a very, very interesting best of 5 because there were moments that it felt like EDG should have accelerated ahead. And you can debate some of the decision-making on both teams, but it made it very entertaining and very exciting to watch. Fnatic stand tall. They advanced 3 LCS teams in the semi-finals. Deficio, what world do we live in when that's the reality?
In the world where the EU LCS and NA LCS are actually showing up big time at Worlds.
A good world. That's all I'm going to say. A very good world.
It's unbelievable. Anyways, to help us absorb the magnitude of today's results, let's head over to Worlds Countdown. Cool down.
It got you again, Quick Shot. Welcome to the Worlds Cooldown, where we break down every day of Worlds as it delivers on the hype. And Fnatic, with a 3-1 victory over EDG, make it so that the EU LCS is the most represented region in the top 4 of the 2018 World Championships.
And it's great to see, because coming into this Worlds, many EU fans were hoping that it would be 2015 Worlds again, where we saw Fnatic and Origin make the semifinals. And expectations were that with this Fnatic squad, we could finally do it. The surprise came from the fact that G2 were also able to do it, but now both EU teams will have the opportunity to fight for that final.
Yeah, and I think now the expectation should be higher that they can go further, because there is no LCK in the Korean World Championship that we have right now. And Verius, I know that you actually think that Fnatic underperformed expectations a little bit. Like, they made some mistakes, Caps actually didn't win all the lanes, but I would say in the place where they proved that they were the better team was in the team play. Because I felt like EDG did actually have some of those individual outplay moments that you thought could make this series interesting, but they just never let that manifest in very real advantages. I am very impressed with how Fnatic avoided tilt in this series, where so many other tournament favorites have faltered. Fnatic didn't.
With both their picks and their play, they were able to turn around some fights from some pretty amazing deficits in some of these games to claw back. Deficio calling out specifically the Swain pick for Bwipo here in this 4th game, but really everyone stepped up at a different time. The other crazy thing we have to acknowledge is that this is still the only first seed to make it through the quarterfinals. The 2 seeds from all 3 of the other series got the better of the favorites.
Yeah, first regional champion to make semifinals since 2016. Like, they defied all of the curses so far, and it just continues to be that World Championship. We keep going back to it. Like, the fact that we have a C9 versus Fnatic semifinal.
Right.
That's incredible. That means
Guaranteed,
it's guaranteed
Western team in the finals.
LCS team in the finals. And this wasn't even the most unexpected day of the weekend, Dash.
You're right. This one was definitely more expected than yesterday's, with both RNG and KT making an early exit from the tournament. But I do want to turn attention back to this series, only to celebrate it just a little bit more. Again, the idea that Fnatic as well, just as an organization, is doing it with Rekkles having removed himself from the roster for a period of time. They've gone through their ups and downs similarly to a lot of... We've talked about the G2 roller coaster. We've talked about the Cloud9 last to first. For Fnatic, they've had their own obstacles to overcome. And while, yes, they are an organization that has largely been looked at as one of the dominant ones in the European LCS, they've had to contend with G2 for that point. And they finally got their, back into that domestic dominant state. And now they get to continue to prove it here on the international stage.
And I think that for a lot of members and for a lot of reasons, this achievement is a really big deal. If we think back to Bwipo having to sub in for MSI because of the damage done to Zoaz's arm, he goes 3-0 against RNG, and you hear him in that interview at the beginning of the day where he says, "We could have done better. We wish we would have done more." And you then look at Rekkles, the guy that coming into international tournaments was kind of considered a choker. He couldn't compete against the best AD carries in the world. He couldn't have those kind of performances. And Broxah was just that quiet jungler that didn't really stand out, and many in Europe even didn't rate that highly. Right. They come into this tournament, Broxah is considered one of the best Lissans in the world. Bwipo just has one of his best Swain performances that he's had all year.
The game before that, Rekkles carries.
And even then, like, Rekkles does what Rekkles does in Europe, and he proves that even if things go poorly, we have the late game insurance of Rekkles on a carry. And the fact that Caps wasn't relied upon to be the big carry, even though he was the guy that was hyped up and celebrated coming into the World Championship, I think is just such a big deal for Fnatic, because they're now a multi-threat team that plays team fights exceptionally well, and I'm excited to see the matchup against a very strong-looking Cloud9.
Yeah, that's a talking point, the Caps point, one we'll get to when we preview the C9 versus Fnatic semifinal. Fnatic's bot laner, though, earned a trip to the semifinals, and to get a sense of what that feels like, we're going to send it over to Shox for an interview.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Rekkles, who has made his second semifinal ever, finally, more importantly, has made it with Fnatic and beat EDG. How do you feel?
I feel surprised. I thought it would be easier than it was. I was very surprised with how clean they actually played. Like, I'm so used to the Chinese teams being over-aggressive and making a lot of mistakes in the later stages, but EDG actually played a pretty clean macro game, if you ask me. And I think we only really edged them out in terms of mechanics, which is very weird to say for a team like us, but at the same time, I'm happy to see that we can actually do that as well, and it's not only like the teamwork that gets us somewhere, but actually individual members stepping up as well.
Well, I was about to say, I didn't mean to throw any shade, but it felt like this wasn't the same Fnatic that I saw beating IG twice in a row and being super decisive. So you already said EDG was definitely very strong. What was kind of off in your team? Did you not feel as online as you did in those previous games?
I think we honestly just weren't in the zone today. I could feel it already in the first game where, like, normally when someone makes a play on us, we are really fast at figuring out what we need to do as a response. If it's like matching them when they come from me in the bot lane, for example, and fighting them there, or just going mid to top as an answer, we're always usually like pretty fast at figuring out what we need to do there. But in the first game, we just let them take over. We didn't make any answers, so I could feel that something was off in the first game, which is why I was so happy to see that we could actually pick up like the most important games in my eyes, which is game 2 and game 3, because that puts you in a momentum swing. And then in game 4, I think we didn't even play that well. They just kind of seemed stressed out. They were walking in and making a lot of mistakes. But in the other games, I would definitely say that they played better than expected.
All right, all realistic, but now let's turn it on the positive, because this has been an amazing Worlds for you guys so far. And you came to me before the match, and you were very confident. You said, am I getting this interview after? Because I think we're going to win. Can you talk to me a bit about the 2018 Rekkles, who is confident in himself and in his team's abilities to possibly take the World Cup home?
So a lot of people think that at MSI I was underperforming, which I definitely agree with. But at the same time, I could definitely feel like I was ready to play with these guys. I didn't feel like I was completely outclassed. I mean, I was definitely not having my best games, but I could keep up. I could understand what they were doing and where they were coming from. And when that happened versus Uzi, I thought that, like, now I'm ready. I can actually just, like, I can be the best in the world. So I tried really hard over the summer, even though I wasn't playing, to work on the team aspects, because I knew that if I were to figure out how we can be the best team in the world, then we can win the whole thing. So I would definitely say that, like, it's going to happen now. Like, I can feel it. We're going to make it all the way.
All right, then. Well, Uzi isn't there anymore, so that's a plus. But C9 actually did make very quick work of a Freak of Freaks earlier on. How do you feel about that NA-EU matchup? It is something that the fans' dreams are made of, but that may also bring a lot of stress with it.
Honestly, I don't really care that it's C9 we're going up against. I feel like that's more for the fans, but I'm very happy for the West. I feel like, especially towards my European teams, I have a lot of respect. I think they have all done amazing work this Worlds, like especially Vitality, who don't get the same sort of spotlight that we do since we made it further, made like an amazing run in their group stages already. So I feel kind of proud actually to be representing the West this time around, which is something that usually doesn't happen. So it's cool that we get to play, or get to see a Western team in the finals and get to play C9 in the semis.
Fantastic. I think that was it. Congratulations. Great job. A calm and collected Rekkles after booking a semi-final ticket. So we'll see how that match versus C9 plays out. Back over to you guys.
Thank you, Shox. Confident as well, saying he feels it. They're going to take it all.
So he's been this confident since before the tournament. Like the first interview I heard him talking about, he was already projecting, well, as long as we don't draw RNG, I think we can beat any of the other teams in a best of 5.
Right.
And if we beat IG, we'll have a first seed, so we won't get RNG anyway. He was talking past them.
Right.
So now that the 2 teams he had in his head is the ones they had to worry about, maybe even 3 in KT, RNG, and IG, well, 2 of them are gone. They've already beaten IG. So he's thinking in his head, like,
we have no competition.
yeah, we're going to win Worlds. Yeah. And it hasn't stung them the way that a lot of other times I feel like that type of arrogance can sting a team, and the fact that they'll look past an opponent and lose to them and get surprised upset. That hasn't happened to Fnatic, so he's able to have that confidence while still remaining focused at the task at hand, and that's very impressive.
How do you feel about that confidence?
I sweat a lot. I get very scared. Like, I think on the one hand, it is justified because I think, you know, we talked about it at the beginning of the day where we said who is the next favorite, and we kind of look at Fnatic and IG, and by transitive properties, given that Fnatic have beaten 2-0 over IG, you could argue, yes, Fnatic is the favorite to win the World Championship.
Right.
But I think it's one of those things where right now, the World Championship is determined by who plays their style best. And I think that's what has made it the best World Championship.
And plays better on the day.
Right? And what we've seen from Cloud9 is that when they come in prepared and when the members get to play their style, this team is a top 4 team in the world. And the fact that Sneaky stepped up today, the fact that we've seen FNC been performing out of his mind, Licorice stole a Baron on. Like, the fact that all these things happened is something that Fnatic have to come in respecting. And if they come in with the mentality of, okay, the LPL teams were our strongest opposition, it's an easy, smooth sailing to the finals from here, that will bite them. Because Cloud9 are looking good, and you have to respect that.
Well, you've just done a damn good job of previewing it, but after today's series, we do have our semifinal matches. On one side of the bracket is the highest stakes EU versus NA match ever.
Rift Rivals 3!
Fnatic and Cloud9 face off for a spot in the finals. And on the other side, we have the semifinal between the teams that knocked out tournament favorites, G2 Esports and Invictus Gaming. Vedius gave me his quick preview of the NA-EU matchup here, Cloud9 versus Fnatic. Jat, what are your thoughts on the fact that we're going to see these two teams clash?
I mean, I'm incredibly excited, not just for the fact that it means we have an NA or EU LCS team in the World Final, but I feel like it could have an inspirational effect on the regions going forward, because I do feel like there has been just so many stones thrown at NA or EU anytime someone speaks the way Rekkles just did in that interview and say, shut up, you're going to lose a best of 5 to the Korean or the Chinese team. You don't get to say you're good. Now you can say you're good because they've proven it on the world stage, and I think it has potential to improve practice. I think it has the potential to improve solo queue. I hope it has that forward effect. As far as the matchup, I don't know. It really is.
Analysis doesn't work anymore, Dash.
Oh, man.
Who shows up better on the desk?
I'm opening up applications for analyst desk spots on the desk because apparently, it's anything.
We should just start throwing darts at the wall. And go, I think today Fnatic will win game 1 because Rekkles picks Civ. Okay, that's my analysis.
It is. I like it. Little clue, basically. All right, earlier, Shox got up with Cloud9's most veteran player to get his thoughts on the team's run through Worlds so far.
Thank you very much. I am here with Sneaky. Sneaky, 5th time is the charm. You make it to the semifinals, a huge, huge, huge achievement. How do you look back on what you guys did in the games versus the FLICKR Freaks today?
Yeah, we played pretty well. We were able to come back from deficits. I think games 2 and 3, like we were losing out a bit, but we kept our mental strong and we ended up winning out. It was super amazing. And yeah, it's first time getting to semis for NA and for us. Like I've been here in quarters, 5 times now, and always fallen a bit short. Last year was the closest one, and yeah, we're finally able to make it. It's pretty insane. I'm really happy.
It seems like hard work does really pay off. A lot of people have talked about how it can be quite a grind going from the gauntlet to the play-ins to the group stage to this, and the schedule is so compressed. But you guys seem to go from strength to strength. Why is that?
I think it might just have to do with our learning process. Maybe other teams... actually, no, I was going to say maybe other teams don't have as good learning process, but G2 and EDG are also looking really strong, and they also did the same thing as us. So I think it just proves that a lot of teams are adaptable, and going through more games in Worlds is actually pretty beneficial, even though it's a lot more risky, because they're like, yeah, we could get eliminated before Worlds even starts. So I mean, I like it and I don't like it.
Well, it is paying off. In the semifinal now, when you look at the playing field, you know, you have an IG, a Fnatic, an EDG, possibly a G2. What do you think sets you guys apart from all the teams that you may be meeting when it comes to the actual game?
Well, originally when we were coming to the tournament, I thought our, I guess our trait would be proactive aggression, but we couldn't really show it at first, and it took a lot of time. And now I think it's really coming out, and we're able to show that. But also, those other teams are super aggressive too, and I think that's just like the winning thing for this Worlds is aggression. Because have you seen all the Korean teams? Like they try to play it slow, they try to play around the vision, but then everyone just goes for the fight in darkness. So it's something we've had to learn, and I think we're really good at now. So I like our aggression. Yeah,
I mean, I like it too. Final question, how does it feel to have the weight of the NALCS on your shoulders, the fact that you could be the first NALCS team to win the World Championship?
Yeah, that's actually nuts. I didn't really think it would be too possible coming in to Worlds, because, you know, we always falter at quarters, and all the Korean teams usually look so strong, but this year it's so up in the air that I'm really confident now that we can win it all.
Fantastic. That's what I love to hear. Thank you very much. Sneaky, back over to you guys.
Thank you, Sharks. They went the distance last year and lost in the 5th game to narrowly miss the semifinals. This time around, 3-0. We're not messing around. They secure. Great to hear from Sneaky again, one of the longest standing members in the North American LCS and a longtime Worlds veteran.
Yeah, and I think the point he made about the Korean teams playing slow around Vision and then losing fights in the darkness is true. But I also like how you pointed to 2017, where C9 went to Game 5 against Team WE. Misfits went to Game 5 against SKT. Yes, there are other factors that help push us over the top.
Yeah.
But the NA and EU LCS were team fights away from having 2 teams in the semifinals last year. I'm just really happy that they broke through this year.
Exactly. We talked about C9 Fnatic just a little bit. I do want to do justice to the other series that we have coming our way in G2 versus Invictus Gaming. The single most important thing you're looking at in that game, or exciting thing, what really gets you going about that series?
I can't wait to watch Perkz versus Rookie. Because as good as Caps is, Perkz has been the best European mid laner at Worlds so far.
Yeah.
His last 2 games in the RNG series, who are arguably the hardest quarterfinal opponent that was defeated by G2 on the back of Perkz in that game 4 and 5. So I want to see if G2 can keep up that miracle energy they seem to have. And Rookie is like
against the best opponent to showcase that against.
And I mean, we think about it, right? And Caps, in terms of international experience, is still limited, right? He had MSI, he had last year as well, and this tournament, he really did struggle against Rookie in all 3 games that they played. But Perkz is a guy that has shouldered that weight for many international events. MSI 2016, where the meme began. Worlds 2016, where they couldn't get out of groups. He's been to 4 different international events. This is his 5th, and now he is so close to securing a final. And the fact that he has so much pressure on his shoulders and he's going up against arguably the best mid laner in the world right now is one of the hypest matchups I think we could ever have in the semifinal.
Yeah. And we have really good mid laners left in the tournament, by the way. We're down to Rookie, Caps, Jensen, and Perkz.
Those are solid.
3 of those were from a certain part of the world. Something about someone mids. I forget the saying.
Danish mids, I believe is the phrase.
Exactly. All right, well, history was made this weekend, and Twitter flooded the internet with the moments that defined one of the greatest weekends of League of Legends ever. And we pulled a few to relive in our Acer Predator Big Plays. First up, Scoochlol was in shock during our first series of the day, saying, "I can't believe Licorice punched the Baron so hard that Korea left Worlds."
Go. Look at Gragas. Oh, Gragas, finish him if you can. I'm moving. Gragas dead. Look at the Baron, 50. Trying, steal. Nice. Good work, Eric. Good shit. That's what it is. You guys are fighting. Oh, nice shot. Coming. Wait, they don't have Baron recall.
Who does that? It was 16 HP.
I was going to say, the Baron health is like floating at 400 or so for a while there, and you're like, all right, surely a smite or something.
And you're like, okay, there's 4 members of a FLICKR in there. One of them is going to hit this.
50-50.
Drop the hammer.
He drops the hammer.
Oh,
Name 2 champions that would be better than Ornn Lissandra to defend a 2v5 Baron. Like, I can't even think about it.
That's Victor.
Yeah, if you're going to have 3 people die and only have 2 left, that's pretty good
But that's about as good as you can get. As good as you can get. Next up, the Paradise Train's Pick'ems were on life support during the split push in Game 3 of IG versus KT.
This is going to be your game-ending push one way or the other. It's KT going for the base. It's going to be a base race. Nexus turret number 1, taking down to half HP. KT looking to end it right here, right now. Ning taken down to half. It's Shy versus Smeb at the base at the same time. Mono's going to be taken very low. Yukao barely going to be kept alive. Score taken down to 1 corner. Smeb's nearly going to be killed now as well. Def taken so low. The Blade Call is not able to find him. Def goes on a killing spree. It's the Shy still in the base. It's KT looking to try to stand and fight if they can. The Shy has made his way onto the inhibitor turrets, onto the Nexus turrets. They're going to be taken down. KT still marching. It's a base race. The Shy's onto the blue Nexus. KT's onto the red. Who's gonna win? The Shy will not. And KT takes it to game 4. Holy crap! They won the top side 4v4 with Baron buff on. KT roster still are in Worlds.
Some people say Captain Flowers is still catching his breath from that call. I believe it. My God, what a finish to that game.
Kobe, I just felt like the excitement overtook him, and he's like, I'm just saying words, yelling. It's
Also,
so exciting.
Credit to Kobe and Papa Smithy.
Everyone else.
For knowing who won. Because when it was live, the camera was actually on just the Fiora, and you got to see the camera start to go, and then it cut away.
Right.
So you have to know that was the Nexus pan.
Right? I mean, we all had to confirm on the desk ourselves as that game was ending, oh, wait a second. Let me just verify the result of that before we dive on to an analyst desk segment. Finally, Xayah, I really hope I got that right. Xayah, correct me if I'm wrong, on Twitter, claimed that G2 Perks is the second coming of FLICKR after that LeBlanc play.
No flash, no flash, no flash, no flash either! No flash either! Nice.
Rise flash through, I'm falling fine.
Guys, we are getting top. As long as you're down, we are fine. Guys, that bot lane could be on the right. We're fine. We're smurfing.
Push out on our base.
Okay, hey, LeBlanc, let's base, and I'll go with you to top, okay? Oh, LeBlanc is going crazy, actually.
Holy shit.
Okay, well, LeBlanc really wants to actually go.
That was the most impressive. So the most impressive thing about that, right, is
they're already talking about it.
He wasn't sure if the Ignite would kill him, so he goes back to the W, he fires his chains onto the Thresh to proc Ludens to then hit Uzi and secure the kill. Like, the awareness in that moment was just nutty.
I like it.
He was 11-0 in that game.
You're fine, you're smurfing.
Yeah.
That's like...
He's like, don't worry, guys, we're smurfing, we got this.
Communication of the highest level right there. All right, with only the final 4 left standing, we need you to keep tweeting out those plays that make Worlds worth watching so that we can bask in their glory till the world champion is crowned. Make sure to use that hashtag Worlds 2018. Of course, those plays were piloted by some of the pros who stepped up in today's matches and earned themselves MasterCard Player of the Game. For Series 1, the accolades went to Cloud9's Jensen, Svenskeren, and Licorice. And of course, for Series 2, it goes to EDG's Scout, Fnatic's Caps, Fnatic's Rekkles, and Fnatic's Bwipo.
And I feel like the big one there is Bwipo for me in that final game. His Swain was so important in keeping the gold even though Fnatic were just losing in kills all across the board. That Kleptomancy Swain really worked out nicely for him, and in a lot of those team fights, he was pivotal in the success of the team.
Without a doubt. Next week, though, Worlds heads to Gwangju for the semifinal weekend, kicking things off with G2 versus Invictus Gaming on Saturday, October 27th, with C9 versus Fnatic brawling it out on Sunday. Once again, gentlemen, we've already talked a little bit about these series, but could it get any more exciting than this, the way that this tournament is going?
I mean, only if Vitality was there as well, but...
Who do they replace, though, Vidius? Who do you get rid of there?
Invictus Gaming.
Vidius? Oh, please. Oh, please.
I mean, the fact that one of those teams is winning Worlds when beforehand we had the 2 favorites, KT and RNG, coming in. Like, I can't remember, there hasn't been a Worlds where this many of the tournament favorites failed to make it even to the semifinals. It has been the most surprising Worlds ever. The game has been, I feel like, more fun to watch than ever because of the types of plays that are being rewarded. Yes, it is impressive to watch the slow, strangling style of vision control that has dominated for the past 4 years, but this is so refreshing and so fun. I can't wait.
Also fun to just watch teams duke it out.
That's true. But I just feel like the game is back to individual talent and team fighting. And, like, that is summarizing it a lot. But at the same time, just think of the number of outplays we've seen at this World Championship that have swung games around. And to me, that is just what I have missed so much. And the only way this gets better is if we see, like, a Zed versus the Yasuo final, right? Like,
yeah, where we're going, I wouldn't be that surprised if we saw Zed.
Right. And for me, all I care about within all of this is that we get 5-game series so we can see more of those outplays. We've been lucky so far. We've only had the 1-3-0 that we had today, but then 3-1, 3-2, 3-2. We've been blessed with a lot of really fantastic games as well as in the group stages. So only hoping that that continues on here in the semifinals. That is going to do it for us here and the quarterfinals. Now for myself, the casters, the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week for the semifinals of Worlds 2018.
No
North America has dared to dream for many, many years. Cloud9 so often tasked with making it to this moment and moving forward and coming up short again and again. Mid lane.
The flash in the mid lane going for Kuro right away. He can't get away from the chain. Ignite is on. He's not 6. 2-6 really low. This could be a dive and a kill, and he's got him. Sneaky, a solo kill under the turret. Sneaky Lucian. This could be the solo kill, and indeed it will. We are into game number 2. Turns out this is a taste he would like, as the health bar is low, and the second solo kill of the top lane.
I have on him. Is that Victor attack. Save me. Nice.
The ult, they're low!
I'm feeling play Lucian. I'm down here, most likely.
Has to get away from the turret. He's close to dying. He's got to watch out for this one. A barrel chain!
I'm moving. Look at the barrel. 50.
Nice! Oh, gun Orn! Sneaky forced to run. Snipe down by Kraber. And the last vestige of Korea has been destroyed. Cloud9 will make it to the semifinals. A 3-0 sweep. The first time in 7 years.
The last quarterfinal, the winner will face down Cloud9, and it is Fnatic versus Edward Gaming.
Caps now.
Oh! Now remember, Caps flashed over the wall. He needs to get the stun. A flash over from iBoy. Scout continues to look for Rekkles. The chains will find him. Meiko will set it up. Ray! Cypher power, buys some time. Not enough, and Ray gets the solo.
Holy shit, face.
Now Ray looking to jump in the pit. There's no smite available. Ray goes in. Gets Caps on Ray. That's a great stun from iBoy. Killer instinct into death. iBoy suicide. He flies into Fnatic. He gets done. Here comes Haro. Sonic Wave needs to find a target. The knock-up catches onto Hilly. Resonating strike.
I'm out. Go, Stop.
The Nexus is being focused down. And Fnatic, the last standing world favorite,